Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/getstarted. That's GREENLIGHT.com/getstarted.
He hasn't called or texted you?
Nope. Now that's weird because he's not usually late for recordings.
Yeah.
Hey guys!
Eli, where are you? Why is your voice everywhere again?
Because you are back in the misconception verse, silly. I figured since we were revisiting it, I might as well plug y'all back in. Had the simulation backed up on my computer and everything.
Sorry,
So,
the misconception verse?
Remember he made a simulation where all the misconceptions were true to celebrate like the episode? Do you remember this?
Right. But he's like the last person who should have a universe simulator.
And yet I do, Heathleton. I do. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to watch the queen turn into a lizard person? Balance an egg on its tip just one day a year?
Yeah, honestly, the misconception verse is just really dangerous. So I'm just going to chill and watch TV.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
TV
TV
sounds
good,
right.
man. Maybe some music videos too.
Golden age. Tunes.
And now, back to the latest hit from Avril Lavigne, whose real name we now know is Jean-Benet Ramsey.
See, this is why you don't let him program the universe.
What? You guys know this is true.
It's not true.
Definitely not.
It's not true.
Nope.
You're the worst.
I kill you.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Eli Bosnick, and I'm assuming that someone out there is listening, but I'm going to need a few other folks to reinforce that delusion. First up, two men safe in the knowledge that money can't buy happiness, Cecil and Tom.
Yeah. And as long as you're not a patron, I'm still in the placebo group, guys. Help me out here.
It is true that money cannot buy happiness, but it can absolutely lie to you with a smile,
Yes.
and that
Yes, it
is
can.
good enough for me.
That's the same, Tom.
Agree.
And also joining us tonight, a guy who's seen the Great Wall of China from space, if you know what I mean,
What?
Heath Enright.
No idea what you mean. But I'm here. Thanks for the intro. Cool. I'm here too.
Before we begin tonight, I'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons. Patrons, so many people are under the misconception that we're not a hair's breadth away from abject poverty. But your contributions can change all that. If you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around till the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Tom, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today we will be discussing common misconceptions, part 2.
Okay, great. So let's start with Eli thinking it's hair's breadth just now. Like the very small distance of hair breathing once.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck do you think that means?
If a hair could breathe, it would be
Okay,
tiny.
no.
Obviously.
Oh my
No.
God.
Sound like an idiot right now. And
There's a
Cecil,
D in there, dude.
you found some misconceptions we miss.
Clever.
No.
You ready to lead us into knowledge?
Technically, if you lead a horse to water, they may or may not drink. It's not based on your persuasive capabilities, actually based on the horse's thirst level. I just wanted to get that out of the way early. Just
right.
how
So-
thirsty the horse is.
So tell us,
Has
Cecil.
nothing to do with what you asked, but I wanted to
Why
say
is
it.
Noah not
Stupid.
here for this episode? This
Dumb
seems like
questions.
custom
By Eli.
Noah.
So tell
Dumb
us, Cecil.
Hair's breadth.
Why did you want to revisit this topic?
So,
Breath.
I wanted to revisit this topic because the list is really amazing. I think there may be a part 3 of this in the future, possibly. The list is really interesting because it shows not only what people believe, and in some cases, odd things you may have never heard before, but it also has on a couple occasions just shown me that I was holding some of these misconceptions for myself. So let's start with some business myths. Evidently, there are people in the world that think Adidas is an acronym for All Day I Dream About Sex, or All Day I Dream About Soccer, or the final word, I guess, can be sports too. It turns out that this is not true. The person who the company is named after is its founder, Adolf, or Adi Dassler. Adi Das, Adidas. The company was named in 1949, and the jokes about the company's name, they were published in the late 70s.
Okay, I actually thought that Adidas All Day I Dream About Sex thing was from a Korn song,
Ugh.
which is a band I am now ashamed to
Should
be
be.
associated with, even in this sentence.
I actually heard it was apples dipped in diarrhea are scrumptious. That's what it was in my hometown as a kid.
Way better.
About poo.
Way better.
Why? Why did we?
Man, we're kids, and that's funny because it's about poo. Come on.
Okay, but like all day I dream about soccer, I get. All day I dream about sports, I get. But y'all 8th grade class was working on someone just really likes apples dipped in diarrhea. This is real. Take it serious.
The common depiction of Santa Claus with a big white beard and red clothes with white fur trim was already very popular in American culture in the late 1800s. Coca-Cola just used that popular depiction of Santa to sell their soda. They didn't create that version of Father Christmas.
Okay, yeah. Coca-Cola did not invent Santa. That's stupid. But I like to imagine like a hierarchy of soda brands and holidays. So like Coke invents Santa, and then like Pepsi claims the Easter Bunny, and Diet Right gets, I don't know, I guess the Tooth Fairy. But according to the Steele dossier, Mellow Yellow is all over Trump.
Okay, what's the orange and white Santa called?
The
Fanta Claus.
Ah.
It's soda. It's Fanta. They do other ones, but orange is the main one.
I'm not gonna lie, for a second, I thought he was just making demands. He was like, and now make up a joke about Dr. Pepper for my amusement. 4 more soda jokes, please.
Also, the popular myth that the Chevy Nova had to be renamed in Latin America as sales tanked because the name means it doesn't go in Spanish is not true. The Nova sold very well in those countries, and the Spanish speakers understood the name to mean new, not stationary.
Just some marketing guy being like, hold on, does Mexico know about spaces in written language? I feel like they don't. We're going to rename it. Like, that actually tracks in my head. Like, I could see that person existing.
The tall tale that Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, started the company because he was disgruntled over a $40 late fee from Blockbuster was made up by its founder. They had modeled their business after Amazon. There's also a rumor that Pepsi owned the world's 6th most powerful Navy when they traded $3 billion worth of Pepsi products to the USSR for 20 decommissioned Navy vessels. The deal was on the books, but it never took place. The company had planned to sell these ships for scrap, and if they kept the ships, they would have been, quote, small, old, obsolete, unworthy sea vessels, end quote.
Yeah, we heard you, Cecil. The Russian Navy.
Okay, but still, Pepsi was at least considering buying Russian warships. And you have to admit, that is a pretty drastic escalation of the soda wars.
Taste this, motherfuckers.
World War VII up. All right.
Now do one about Fanta.
Okay, moving on to some food-related myths. Searing meat is done to create the Maillard reaction, which is when the meat browns and this enhances flavor. Some people mistakenly think that searing meat seals in the moisture, but the act of searing meat actually makes it lose moisture. It doesn't like seal it in.
Now, Ben Shapiro hears this and he's like, see, guys, the hotter the meat, the drier things get, huh? My wife loves me.
Also, what problem was that solving with the searing in those people's heads? They're like, I feel like the blood's evaporating between the 3 seconds from grill to plate. I'm going to caulk it or do a sear, one or the other. Caulk it feels crazy doing a sear.
This steak is a terrible water balloon. There's got to be a better way.
When eating hot peppers, people tend to think that the seeds are what contain the capsaicin, the component in the pepper that gives it its hot flavor. This is not the case. The highest concentration of capsaicin is actually in the pith of the pepper that holds the seeds, not the seeds themselves.
Okay, that's a new one for me, actually.
Yeah, people think it's the seeds. It's not the seeds. It's the pith around the seeds.
Is there a way to do like a magic trick with that? Or like some sort of dare win? Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, you can poison people. By chemical.
Use-by dates on food are not necessarily the day that the food needs to be consumed by. Some foods will expire on or shortly after that date, but foods that are properly stored can be eaten past the expiration date. These dates are regulated by the government and they indicate the last day the manufacturer warrants the quality.
Okay. I don't want to argue with Wikipedia, but it feels like a poor person wrote that just because their kid asked why the frozen
Jesus,
chicken pot pie tasted funny.
Fuck, Eli.
I like that there's like a 1 day stroke of midnight cutoff where the manufacturer's like, all right, and 3, 2, 1. Fuck it. It can taste like botulism and cigarettes. We're off the hook, boys.
But be honest, you're afraid at midnight of the milk that flipped over that day.
Yeah, don't eat
You
that.
are.
That's not for you anymore.
If you have to eat the milk, it's definitely not for you.
You have a refrigerator. It's a miracle. You have a refrigerator miracle. Nations would have fallen for it. And they're like, oh man, the tiny bottom of this yogurt is poison now. Not worth it.
That being said, I think some people think that Twinkies are some kind of super wonder food that they can keep their freshness. And when I say freshness, I'm definitely using air quotes. For many years, making them the only food that will be available to eat after the inevitable fall of humankind.
Like a nuclear blast. I've heard nuclear
Right,
blast.
right,
The
right.
only survivor that'll be left. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I don't want to live.
That's thankfully not true, though, Tom. Somehow these grotesque, dry, disgusting cakes can get even worse than their shelf life is, which is about a month and a half, it turns out.
Yeah, fun fact, where most products have the expiration date, Twinkies just say, oh, now you're worried about what you put in your body? Just eat your cream-filled dick cake, you piece of shit. Never mind when we made it. Just eat it. It says exactly that. It's weird. It's
a
really
whole
aggressive.
It's in the weird clock print and everything.
Turkey meat is not unusually high in the amino acid tryptophan. The amino acid is often blamed for our sleepiness at the American Thanksgiving dinner, in which turkey is often the main course. Turns out we just stuff ourselves as much as the turkey because we get sleepy when we overeat and then we blame the bird. Cooked spinach that has had like several changes of water is actually a better source of iron and calcium than raw spinach. Raw spinach has a chemical in it that inhibits the absorption of these vitamins that can be cooked and rinsed away. It seems that some people think that banana flavored candy is mimicking a variety of banana that is no longer produced, and that's not the case either.
I'm so excited about this. I've had an argument about this recently.
Even though we've gone through several varieties before landing on the Cavendish banana, which is the banana we have now, the flavor is distinctly banana-esque because it's just like a single flavoring chemical found in bananas. Isomyl acetate. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Isoamyl acetate. Okay, but from the current banana.
Right. It's from most of the bananas. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So not so much banana flavored as they are flavored like a banana.
Right. No, I mean, banana, one banana flavored, Eli, one banana.
Yeah, but look, man, anybody who says they like any banana flavored anything that is not an actual banana, they are lying to try to fuck you. These people are fucking monsters. They need to be tied in a sack and drowned in a vat of banana flavor.
You know what,
that
Tom?
shit is disgusting.
Tom, lock it in. I've never agreed with you more
Strong
than right
opinion.
now.
Oh my god!
Lock it in. I've never agreed with you more.
Hold on. You've never had the banana now and later? You didn't like
I
that?
would rather
Those are
kill
the
myself
worst things
on television
in the history
than have a
of
banana
candy.
now and later.
I'm
I
with
will
you, Heath. I
punch
love
you in the
them.
mouth
Right?
the
That
next
is
time I see you.
fucking
Those last
disgusting.
for a long
You're
Banana runs.
gross.
That is not a good thing.
Bananas
Those are good too.
runs.
Thank you, Eli.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
What?
having like a fucking tooth pulled will hurt for a long time. It doesn't make it
Yikes.
a positive thing.
Yikes. Both of you.
Oh my god!
Double yikes. That's all I'm saying.
I see.
Brothers
I think I'd
against
rather
brothers.
eat the salted
This is a
licorice.
civil war.
I wish Noah was here to be the tiebreaker of not liking any food.
There's no way. There's no way. Noah 100% like banana flavored foods. There's no way he doesn't.
likes artificial things.
There's no way. There's
You
no way he
never know.
doesn't. Yeah.
It's not a pizza.
This is a
bagel. He's
man
never
who
tried it.
likes Hot Pockets. He likes banana flavored things.
There might
too.
be a banana hot pocket. It's not out of the question.
It's a not an impossible. Got to get him in Mexico. Like real Coke.
fucking disgusting.
Throwing rice at a wedding when a bride and groom leave the church does not turn birds into rice hand grenades. Some people think that birds that consume the rice become little rice cookers and they swell up as the rice absorbs the moisture and they die. Some weddings instead throw millet or confetti because won't someone think of the damn birds? Whatever. Some birds eat rice. Some birds don't, but birds pretty much know what they can eat. And I guess if it's a pigeon, I guess that includes cigarette butts too. So
Actually, see, so that's just all New Yorkers. So
How big could the rice get? Like I've seen
I don't
rice
know.
get cooked. It doesn't get like exponentially bigger.
it doesn't get, it's not like popcorn, right? Although that would be hilarious if they like boom, 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 and the bird is like getting bigger and bigger. Fortune cookies are not from China. They are not part of Chinese culture. In fact, they are considered American in China and they are rare. Fortune cookies were actually first made in Japan and then the Japanese brought them to the United States. We're super racist. Thank you very much. And the potato chips, they weren't invented out of spite because the customer complained that the fries at a restaurant were too thick and they weren't salted enough. This story about this was popularized in a 1973 advertising campaign by St. Regis Paper Company. Recipes for potato chips go as far back as the early 1800s.
Say, Ray, what the fuck happened at the paper company that they decided to throw down in the fries versus chips potato fight?
I was thinking the same thing. I actually looked this up. St. Regis Paper Company was a paper bag company. So apparently their marketing team was like, we got to get rid of these thick ass fries that go right through our paper bags. Let's start a chip war. And that's what they did.
Man,
And then they went out of
advertising was
business.
awesome before sex. All right, fellas, I got a way to sell our bags. Hold up. Just what if make up some things about the racists? Put it in the newspaper.
I guess there's a myth. This is crazy. I guess there's a myth that the Mongol warriors would take the toughest part of the horse meat, slice it thin, and then put it under their saddle and ride it all day with hopes that the meat there would become tender. And then they would get
under the saddle between their ass and the saddle or between the horse and the saddle?
It's not specified, Tom. It could be either. I think it's a little grosser.
I feel like under is pretty clear which is
yeah,
which.
I think
It would
under
be-
it's like there's like one
Between the
layer
horse.
of hair
Between horse
of
and
the
saddle, so
horse,
it's like
and then the saddle. That's what I'm envisioning. That's what I
stinky
thought.
horse
Yes,
sweat meat?
yes, that's what I'm thinking. Then Tom, it doesn't stop there. They would get off the horse then, and then they would cut up the meat and eat it raw, thus inventing steak tartare. Now, besides being gross as fuck, this is not true. Steak tartare is a variation in the Hamburg steak, or as we know it, the hamburger. And then there's also another hilarious food myth. Spices in medieval cookery were not used to cover up the taste and smell of rotting meat. The spices were extremely expensive in that time, so anyone who could afford them could afford fresh meat.
Yeah, and actually the British carry on the medieval tradition, and none of their food has ever had contact with flavor of any kind.
Can we take a second to talk about how every single myth about the Middle Ages is just a very obvious child's lie about how gross and stupid the people were back then. It's always like, in the Middle Ages, people ate poop because they thought it was chocolate. I get it. I know they didn't have iPads, people, but they were still adults. Take it back a notch.
Hydrox cookies are not an Oreo cookie knockoff. They actually were produced first by about 4 years. They outsold Oreo cookies for about 40 years. But then in the 1950s, Oreos overtook them. They did it in two ways. First, Oreos priced their cookies lower. Secondly, they didn't call them like a weird name like Hydrox because people thought that was like a laundry detergent brand. Important. So they didn't do that. Also, if you weren't getting in on the new Oreo cookie flavors, you are 100% missing out. I recommend the mocha latte and the carrot cake. Amazing.
The mint's good too.
Mint is good
I was going to
too.
come in and recommend the mint, but I was afraid of mockery.
Mint is good.
The
Cecil.
banana ones? Do you ever have those?
No.
Nobody
so
has.
good.
That's disgusting.
Sounds
And
gross.
Cecil,
No, they don't exist.
Sounds
I will
gross.
tell you that I tried both the mocha caramel latte and the carrot cake, and after eating 5 packages of Oreos in 2 weeks, my doctor actually had to put me on Hydrox to wean me off.
No kidding, right? Yeah.
The dark chocolate
did
are
eat
also
5
good.
packages
Dark
of those
chocolate
in
is
2
also good too, by the way. Dark chocolate is very good.
They're all
So good.
birthday
They're also
chocolate.
good.
Oh,
No, I don't think the mocha Java chip is very good.
No, that's actually bad.
Yeah, the mocha
That's an
Java chip's not
aggressively
good.
bad
Not
cookie.
good one. Whipped cream was not invented at the Chateau de Chantilly. While it is common to refer to whipped cream as Chantilly cream or creme de Chantilly, it was invented in the 1500s in Italy. George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. It was invented by the indigenous cultures of Central America, like in the 1400s.
Okay, you gotta love an invention that happened when some guy was like, all right, this is pretty good, but like, what if we smush it? You're just falling out the side of my sandwich. I feel like we could spread it on.
Microwaves cook food from the outside in, not the inside out. Just like defrost some hamburger or something one time in a microwave and you'll find this out. Microwaves only penetrate 1 centimeter into the food. Microwaves don't cause cancer because it's a non-ionizing radiation. They are not tuned specifically to the frequency to specifically agitate water. And finally, microwave ovens do not remove nutrients from foods. In fact, because of shorter cooking times, they may actually preserve the nutrients in foods.
Okay, for all of the dumb shits who believe that microwaves are these like barely controlled Fukushima reactors, like that's a pretty fucking intense kitchen gadget, isn't it? Oh, well, Larry, it's called a microwave. It can unevenly defrost a pork chop.
Okay.
You can reheat your coffee you left sit around.
Nice,
And in a
nice.
pinch, it's a dirty bomb capable of killing everyone in the city block. So,
Sorry, what?
yeah, they sell like Hydrox.
Okay. Cecil, I feel like that last section could just be called "People Don't Know How Microwaves
It could be.
Work."
It could be. Absolutely, Eli. Yes.
And I'm certainly one of them. So, while I pretend to listen while someone explains it to me, let's take a little break for apropos of nothing.
Okay. What about like a swimming shoe?
A swimming shoe? Do you hear yourself right
Dude,
now?
I don't know. We're out of activities. We don't have any other like shoes we can sell for activities.
Gentlemen?
Johnson, can you think of any more activities we can make shoes for?
Still no, sirs. Actually, I had a question about our company's name.
Swimming shoe works.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think.
Yeah, does Adidas stand for All Day I Dream About Soccer? Because that's what the guys in the lunchroom were saying. Is that true?
No, it's actually named after.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
You go.
Yes, Johnson. That is what the company's named after. And feel free to spread that to anyone ever who is confused. And all day I dream about soccer. What is it? You said soccer? Was it soccer? All day I dream about soccer. Whatever. Yeah, whatever you said.
Got it. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Dude, what the fuck?
Do you want to tell people our company is named after a guy named Adolf?
Okay, I mean, it's not named after that.
It does not matter.
Adolf,
Doesn't
right?
matter. Doesn't matter. The name Adolf is off the table for all time, forever. No naming anything Adolf, period.
Yeah, okay, fine.
What about go-kart shoes?
Yeah, go-kart shoes would work. Let me run it past marketing. I like that.
Nice. I love it.
Hi, I'm Heath Enright.
And I'm Tom Curry. And the only thing we love more than doing this show is money.
Nope. Tom, what you doing there?
I'm doing the ad for the survey thing that we need our. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but you can't start by saying you like money more than the show.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
feels
no,
wrong.
yeah, got it. Okay. I like money and doing this show the same amount.
No, Tom, just don't mention how much you like money, like at all. Just don't say that.
Okay. Try that. Got it. Please fill out our survey at citationpod.com/survey so we can do ads, which may or may not be for money.
Nope,
I will never.
Nope. Okay. Nope. You know what? It's fine. But yeah, we're trying to sell ads. Takes less than a minute to tell future advertisers about yourself, and we'd really, really appreciate it.
More than money.
Citationpod.com/survey.
Okay, we'll give you the money.
Okay.
And we're back. When we left off, Cecil was like, it's pronounced Tombst. What's next?
I was like that. I was exactly like that. I'm going to continue on like that.
I do sound like
I'm going to continue like that. Let's do some language myths. I guess sign language is not universal. This is something I did not know. Every country pretty much has its own native sign language, and some have multiple sign languages. And we will get tons of messages about this after I finish this. I guarantee it.
I've actually heard there's like dialects of sign language within American
Right,
Sign Language,
yeah.
as if to represent like the accents.
Yeah, there's
Fun
multiple
fact.
Or
ones.
regional spots, yeah.
American Sign Language, violently racist.
What?
Yeah. What? Just go ahead and look up. Here's a fun thing to do at home. Look up the American Sign Language for literally any minority group and then bathe in the horror. That's the way
What?
a lot of people communicate.
There's also the myth that the Inuit and the Aleut people have like 1 million words for snow. And I mean, we have multiple words for snow too, but they do not have an inordinate amount of words for it. They do have more root words for snow, according to Wikipedia. And the Hopi people do have a concept of time, and the language can express temporal concepts. It's just organized differently than our Western languages. Here's a quote. Quote, "For many Hopi, time does not proceed in a straight line as most people understand it. Rather, the past may be past and present more or less simultaneously," end quote.
Oh, yeah, man. Living through the 2020s, I really feel like we're all losing a little Hopi, you know?
Okay, right.
So true, man.
Just to clarify again, that's just a grammar construction of the Hopi.
Yes.
Right? They're not
Yeah.
trapped in simultaneous time dimensions like a half-assed one-off Doctor Who Christmas special. It's just how they
No.
use participles.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been having had. Fuck, we're in the void again. No, of course not. What was that? English speakers don't know how to use pluperfect either. We don't get stuck in voids.
There's no thing white racists won't
I know,
attribute
right?
to native people.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, you know, the Hopis, they don't have time. They just shimmer in and out of existence. And they're all on the boats they couldn't see when Columbus came over.
There appears to be a legend that the word gringo in Mexican Spanish is a corruption of the phrase green grow, a phrase which I guess appears in multiple folk songs. It's also not a corruption of the phrase green go home, which supposedly refers to the green uniforms our soldiers wear or the color of our money. The word originally just meant foreigner, and perhaps it's another alteration of the word Greek in Spanish, which is griego, which could mean it's all Greek to them. JFK perhaps perpetuated the idea that the word crisis in Chinese is made up of the symbols for danger and opportunity. I guess the first symbol does mean danger, but the second one is inflection point.
Also, the word crisis in English is from the Greek word for inflection point of a disease. Pretty much exactly the same, right?
The term 420 is not the penal code for marijuana use. I guess people say it's the penal code in LA for smoking pot, but the section 420, quote, prohibits the obstruction of access to public land, end quote. I guess 420 originated from a high school in San Rafael, California. The term is derived from the time students at that school would meet as a group to smoke.
Okay, but I do love that 420 actually comes from a like weirdly, rigidly organized smoke break.
Okay. But imagine how much it must suck to have you and your stoner friends be the origins of 420 and nobody believes you.
Right? The Italian slur WAP is not an acronym for without papers or without passport. It is derived from the term guapo, which means thug, or dandy, which seems like a pretty wide-ranging term.
Yeah, it does.
Crap does not come from the British plumber's name Thomas Crapper. Instead, it comes from the Latin crappa. The word ye, as in like ye olde, is not an earlier form of the word. Instead, this is black letter printing and its similarity of characters. An obsolete character called the thorn, which has a TH sound, was similar in shape to a Y.
Huh. That's another new one for me.
The best part of ye is that it was pronounced then the. And now, because we're fucking stupid, the modern common pronunciation of an old word is the new never was pronunciation of a word we only use improperly to inaccurately convey a word that wasn't used in a time that didn't happen that way.
This is so us, right?
The word fuck is not an acronym. It does not mean for unlawful carnal knowledge or fornicating under consent of king. Some legends say that it was inscribed in the stocks of adulterers as they were put in the stocks there. It also is not a derivative of the phrase pluck you in reference to drawing back an English longbow. Fuck is most likely derived from the Dutch foken. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Please, Dutch people, send Eli your messages. That means to copulate with. The Norwegian fuka, which means to copulate, or faka in Swedish, which means push, strike, copulate, or penis.
Okay.
I feel like you'd want clarity between strike, push, or copulate.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that does
Agreed.
explain the admirably high Swedish body count on average.
You need words for all those things. You want me to penis while the iron's hot? That's very confusing.
Not in Sweden, it's not.
Umpire calling balls and penises.
The rule of thumb was not about a rule the size of a stick you were able to beat your wife with. Some think this phrase originated as a regulation. You couldn't smack your wife with a stick thicker than your thumb. Places like the Washington Post, Time, and CNN have all spread this myth. Turns out that, in fact, it was a holdover from the 1600s when several different trades measured quantities by the width or the length of a worker's thumb. Okay, so now let's look at some sport and video game misconceptions.
They're fun.
The name of the sport golf is not an acronym for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. The Dutch word golf is the word for club, so it could have evolved from that word, and the Scottish having a hard time pronouncing it without sounding like a Klingon. It also is possible that it comes from the Scottish word gwolf, which means to cuff or strike. And the wiki,
Cecil, quick correction. That's how every Scottish word sounds.
yeah, no, they all
Gwolf.
sound like wolf, 100%.
They're all gwolf.
Yeah. The wiki mentions that before they chopped off her head for a failed assassination attempt. Mary, Queen of Scots, liked golfing, so the acronym doesn't make much sense. Also, there's a myth that Abner Doubleday, a Civil War general, invented baseball in Cooperstown, New York. The game is actually believed to have originated as a derivative game from crickets or rounders.
Oh, that's too bad, because the only thing more boring than baseball is the Civil War. It would have fit.
Okay, but fun fact, in the original version of baseball, you could peg the runner instead of tagging them.
Caliente.
Which is, you got to be fair, way less boring.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, the reason Abner Doubleday got credit is super dumb. In 1907, that's like 16 years after Doubleday died, I think, the owner of the Spalding Sporting Goods Company, A.J. Spalding, set up a special commission to determine who invented baseball. And their main evidence was just some guy who said he went to school with Abner Doubleday. And that guy said, yeah, my friend definitely invented the whole thing when we got bored with stick and hoop one day. He totally, whole cloth invented that. Nothing to do with cricket. So obviously based on cricket.
Violent video games are not the cause of violent behavior. There isn't any evidence that violent video games make people violent or cause them to act violently. Quote, studies have consistently found no link between aggression and violent video games, and the popularity of gaming has coincided with a decrease in youth violence, end quote. But there was a moral panic around video games going back to the 1980s when parents neglected the fuck out of their children and needed to blame that shit on anything but themselves.
Oh, yeah. Kid's been outside since, let's see, 2 o'clock last March. But Jesus Christ, have you seen Galaga? Somebody's got to do something. Somebody else has got to do something.
Okay, here's something I've never understood about this moral panic, right? Right-wing idiots want to be violent, right? Their whole thing is like, I'm a man and I'll put you in the balls. But they don't want their video games making their kids violent? Do they picture a ceremony at 18 when one becomes positively violent? I don't understand. That's your thing.
That's not out of the question that there's some sort of like
Right.
Nazi violence confirmation at 18 that we don't know
Like
about.
a dubbing or a drubbing.
It's called
I guess.
CPAC.
Yeah.
Bejeweled will not replace us.
In the game Civilization 1 and 2, there is a misconception that the computer-controlled Gandhi character can become nuclear Gandhi and like become super aggressive if democracy is adopted in the game.
Just nuclear Gandhi and Dr. Manhattan and and the Hopi tribe just hanging out in the time void. All right. Should we do anything? I don't know if they're worth it.
The myth blames this on integer underflow, meaning that the computer got to like a number it couldn't go past, and then the odometer flipped. The game designer actually says that this is impossible in the coding language that they use for the game. It seems like this myth was popularized by both Reddit and Kotaku, and then in the grand tradition of owning the meme, the company actually added it to the game in Civilization 5 and 6 as a nod to the myth. The Japanese government did not have to regulate the release dates of Dragon Quest series produced by Square Enix. The misconception is that they had to make sure that the game was released on Friday or on a weekend so that the game wouldn't cause children who play it to become truant. Evidently, there were Japanese congressional hearings held over the number of muggings that occurred during, like when Dragon Quest 3 was released, but the decision to release the game on a weekend was the company's decision, not a governmental mandate. Also in 2021, Dragon Quest 10 was released on a Thursday, so the miss is pretty much busted there. Game Space Invaders was supposedly so popular in Japan that the 100 yen coin had like a shortage, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the game just doesn't like destroy the coins or something.
Yeah, no, they don't go into the void
like,
of
it'll
Space
disappear. It doesn't make
They're
any
not
sense.
Hopi coins.
I literally don't understand it. There was a shortage during that year because the government didn't produce as many as they normally did, and they were also being held onto by speculators because the coins had a high silver content. The rumor was repeated by New Scientist, The Guardian, the Guinness Book of World Records, and the Ultimate History of Video Games, and it seems to originate from an advertising campaign from the Tato Corporation.
Okay, Cecil, I'm sorry, real quick, but yen is actually pronounced. Gee, read your own essay.
You got to read the script for that one podcast, listener. We promise it's
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Because TH
TH.
Thorn.
It's a callback
Yeah, right.
to ye olde, guys. Just listen back to that part.
Maybe I'll,
No,
I think I nailed
doesn't
that.
help.
That helped
Some
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
probably helped.
final legal tidbits. Cops in the United States do not have to identify themselves if you ask them. That's not a thing. You don't.
Of course they don't. How could we have undercover cops?
I
That was
don't.
the rule.
It's so stupid, but it's literally in the wiki, Heath. You cannot have your Miranda rights read to you and still get convicted. It's just things that you said might not be admissible.
Yeah. Actually, the Supreme Court would have stopped you in the first half of that sentence, Cecil.
Yeah,
But
they would now.
You don't have to wait 24 hours before filing a missing persons report. In fact, the first 72 hours of a missing person's case are like the most crucial. And finally, the First Amendment to the Constitution means that the government cannot restrict the freedom of religion, speech, the press, or assembly or petition. Private individuals or businesses are not subject to this unless they are acting on the government's behalf.
all right.
Aren't they people? I thought they were people.
They're
You know,
people,
different thing.
and the people have votes. Can't get an abortion on Twitter. I don't know. Anyways, if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, Cecil, what would it be?
I learned so much, but the real treasure are the misconceptions we made friends with along the way.
And are you ready for the quiz?
I have to say yes here, or the episode ends like really abruptly. So we have to go on. Yes.
True.
All right, Cecil. These are some great misconceptions, by the way. But when I hear the word misconceptions, I think of pregnancy myths.
Huh.
A misconception.
Clever.
Which of the below is not a real, actual sex and pregnancy myth? A, you can't get pregnant if you have sex standing up.
Used that one before. Go ahead.
B, you can't get pregnant the first time you have sex.
C.
C, you can't get pregnant if you do jumping jacks after
Is
sex.
that for either person?
Drops right out.
What if you do them upside down?
D,
Get more pregnant.
These are all taken from a state of California website because 19 states have sex ed classes that are abstinence only.
God damn it.
Oh, it turns out
There's an
it's-
answer. Actually.
Turns out
There's one that's not true.
turns out it is E. All the E.
It is. E is the one that is not
Yeah.
true. It's 20 states that have sex ed classes that are abstinence only.
Bummer.
So.
All right.
I hate now.
All right, Cecil. Which of the following video game myths turned out to be true? A. Finding 2,041 coins exactly in Super Mario 64 unlocks the Ouija as a playable character. B. Blowing into video cartridges that have pins does anything. C.
You gotta go through the shirt.
Dr. Robotnik was originally designed as the game's hero. Or D,
Huh.
you can fix a damaged game CD with toothpaste.
That last one.
A. A's true.
Unfortunately, it is not true. No, it is C. Dr. Robotnik was originally designed as the game's hero.
Really?
And got beaten out by Sonic, and they loved him so much that they kept him and redesigned him into the villain.
Interesting. All right, Cecil, we got one more for you.
Sure, I'm ready.
Which of the following is the most reasonable belief that's currently held by millions and millions
Oh,
of
God.
people right now? A. Intelligent design. B. Trickle-down economics.
Yikes.
C. I'm going to be sexually fulfilling to my monogamy partner forever because I'm that fucking good at sex. Or D. Some guy yelled, "Let's roll," and a team of
Okay,
proud American
okay.
patriots risk-controlled their way past hijackers with weapons and took down that plane over Pennsylvania on 9/11.
Okay. All right. No.
And it didn't get shot down
No.
very clearly by the Air Force.
No.
Which do you think it is?
A
Which
and
do you
B.
think it is?
A and B.
Turns out the least reasonable belief is D because that's crazy.
Oh,
But
boo
you got it
earns.
wrong according to the formula or something, and Eli wins,
He
right?
exposed 9/11, so he
Yikes.
wins.
Oh no, Eli tells me that I win, and now I
Yeah, listen
Yep.
to me as I speak.
Why start
And now
Thank you.
Eli does the outro.
Thank you, Eli. I would like, Noah's not here. Let's get Noah next time.
All right. Well, for Heath, Tom, Cecil, and Noah, I'm Eli.
You
Is that
okay?
all of us?
That's everybody.
I had to do it by
Bring
memory.
Thomas in here too, and
It
Thomas
was
as well.
terrifying.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
embarrassing.
you. Did Tom? Did I not do Tom?
I was saying
I don't
Thomas
know. I
Smith.
wasn't listening to
All
you.
right, for Tom, Cecil, Heath, and Noah, I'm Eli Bosnick. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Noah, who I mentioned, will be an expert on something else.
Did you count on your fingers just now?
Yeah, I did. Between now and then, you can hear a hair's breadth of
What?
podcasting wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to help keep
what?
this show going, you can make a per episode
What's
donation
happening right
at
now?
patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
Man, that ending to Lost was both satisfying and it definitely tied all the loose ends together. Loved it.
Right? Like, I do not feel like I wasted all of my time watching that show.
Not at all.
At all. Yeah.
Guys, are you ready to leave the Misconception universe?
Can we do Game of Thrones first? Can we do the Game of Thrones first?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. You guys can watch a good ending to Game of Thrones.
Nice.
God, that ending fucking sucked so much.
Right?
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/get-started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get started.